Has anyone not heard of Castlevania by now? Castlevania Curse of Darkness is the latest 3D installment in the series. The series has been going very strong on 2D platforms like the Game Boy Advance and the DS, but it's had more trouble kind of trying to bring its formula into 3D. And the latest game is actually proof of this because Curse of Darkness has a number of really good qualities, but it's also brought low by some real problems with its level design and things of that nature. So the game definitely has the spirit of Castlevania in it. It gets off to a very good start. You play as this character named Hector, who's a devil forge master. He's this guy who used to be one of Dracula's lieutenants, but he gave up on his wicked ways, supposedly, and he also abandoned his powers. But then his girl gets killed, so he's out for revenge now against the guy who apparently did this. This other guy, Isaac, lures him into kind of regaining his powers and kind of forces him through this long series of corridors filled with monsters, actually, as he attempts to gain back his powers and then finally exact vengeance on this nefarious character. The game's got a number of features that are new to the Castlevania series. For example, you have these things called innocent devils that fly around next to you or kind of hover near you. Since you're a devil forge master, that's really what this power entails, that you have this little familiar that can help you fight. These guys are pretty interesting. It's nice to be able to fight along with a partner, and you have a limited amount of control over them if you like, or otherwise you can just let them do their own thing. The thing is, they do help make the game quite a bit easier, since they can heal you up and do all kinds of things, whereas normally in a Castlevania game you just have to do all the work by yourself. What's also new in the game is there's a crafting system. You don't find new weapons and armor strewn around, you actually have to make them. It's really easy to craft new items in the game. You just go into a menu and kind of hit the button. You don't need to be in any special location to make this happen. And in practice, it really is identical to just finding new stuff. Instead, you just find the ingredients for the stuff and then you make the stuff. What's more, Hector can actually jack enemies for their stuff. There's a stealing system in the game, and it's actually pretty neat. You can steal from enemies only during precise moments when they're kind of vulnerable to it, and this varies from enemy to enemy. And this helps to create some more challenge in the game, and you find the very best items, of course, by stealing them, not just from buying them from the store or anything like that. These various new mechanics combine to give the game a very strong first impression. At first, it really seems like the game has a whole lot of depth to it and everything, and that there's going to be a whole lot for you to explore. But the thing is, the game is definitely plagued by just some very, very repetitive level design and a very limited enemy design. So you're kind of going through the same motions all throughout the experience from beginning to end, and many of the same monsters that you're fighting in the first few minutes of gameplay are still pretty much the same monsters that you're fighting right near the end, 12 or 15 hours later. The trouble with Curse of Darkness is maybe that it tries too hard to translate the side-scrolling Symphony of the Night style Castlevania experience into 3D. The problem is you can't just slap a 2D level into 3D and expect that to be very good, because in practice, these winding corridors and boxy rooms that you're going through in this game really get boring pretty quickly, and even though they try to texture map them with swamp or mountain or temple or something like that, they're still just these same corridors. The visuals in the game are decent, but they're not really remarkable. Unless you notice the little numbers floating up as you're hitting enemies, you'd probably be hard-pressed to even tell that this is a Castlevania game. Though fortunately, a lot of the weapon attacks from Hector do look really cool. Though you'll see these all the time, really, since you're just using the same weapons and attacks over and over. The audio actually fares a lot better. There's some excellent music in the game, and the sound effects are good too. And even a lot of the voice acting is really solid. Curse of Darkness gives a good first impression, and it's definitely going to have qualities that Castlevania fans will enjoy, but the lack of challenge in the game and the really mundane levels definitely drag it down, and they keep it from being particularly successful overall. Curse of Darkness is a pretty long game. They definitely made it longer than the last one, but they did so by kind of copy-pasting the same corridor a bunch more times. Some of the boss fights and stuff are pretty entertaining, and the game does have a few interesting moments, but there's so much kind of filler content throughout the experience that it's hard to recommend this game, even to Castlevania fans. But if you're hardcore into the series, you're really going to like the music, and you're going to like some aspects of the presentation, so it's worth checking out, but probably not worth the full retail price for your bottom dollar.